What's up? Can you hear me? Yes, yes, yes. Cord's getting tangled. I wonder why it doesn't stay like that. I don't know. I don't get it. Anyway, like, I don't know how well this microphone is. I really ain't gonna know until I get out the camper. So, yeah. Okay. Global peace alert. Trump sends to announce a plan to end Ukraine war by forcing a ceasefire and stationing Western troops in Ukraine. We can listen into the podcast, but in order to do that, please mind that you know YouTube's rules and censorship. So we have to go to Rumble to actually play the podcast or broadcast of InfoWars. So I did want to share some other things here, but it's kind of like all over the place right now. I have not saved anything at all yet. Let's see here. No way. Elon Musk and Trump and Sylvester Stallone at Thanksgiving dinner. You know, yeah. Oh. Anyway. Let's see if I can pull this closer here. Just getting stuff all set up. I know it's kind of like let's play this one.
They don't own the AlexJonesStore.com.
What might happen over these next couple of days? I think we're going to see additional provocations, and I mean extreme provocations. Does not appear like Zelensky wants to sit down or have any kind of reasonable conversation about any of the peace proposals that are on the table right now. I do believe, in fact, we know it, and I think you've talked about it. There is zero communications between the United States government and the Russian government right now, Putin and Biden. I mean, there has been no conversations. The advent of World War III, we are in the midst of it. The exchange of very provocative nuclear-capable weapons have already occurred. Alex has done an amazing job over these last couple of weeks, really talking about. And I know we have talked about this, talking about the shift in Russia's nuclear policy, talking about first use. And I want people to, he asked me prior about Secretary Austin and what Secretary Austin's comments were. And I think that, what Putin did when he fired this missile, he gave what I call the ultimate warning message from Vladimir Putin not to Ukraine, but to the West, to say, hey, folks, look, we are not, I have a responsibility. Now I'm putting my feet, which I've had to do for my entire military career, was to put my feet into the boots of our enemies, okay? So my analysis of where President Putin is he's got to sit there with his own people and say, we are going to protect the sovereignty of our country. We are going to protect the safety and security of our citizenry. And I can't allow a nuclear capable offensive provocative weapon to be fired into Russia without some type of response, without some type of adjustment in my military and in my political, my diplomatic posture. If everybody listened to, and people need to do this, you need to listen to the messaging coming out of Russia. And I'm really now speaking to not just, the audience, Alex's great audience. I'm speaking to people at Mar-a-Lago, this unconscious crowd that's in Washington, D.C., part of the deep state that is going to sit there and go, oh yeah, this, we're going to keep pushing this thing. We want this thing. Look, folks, we're talking about nuclear war. To even use the word nuclear, this is where I kind of.
And I don't get it how the people who didn't vote Trump don't get it still. I don't get it. Please explain that to me.
To me, it's like, okay, slow down, take a deep breath. This is where the world needs to stop and say, look, we're talking about the use of nuclear weapons. I just feel in my gut, total speculation, but it's a scenario that is it's a possibility that they are going to get rid of Joe Biden. And I just feel that before, probably in the next couple of weeks here. So that brings in Kamala. Everybody goes, well, we don't want Kamala. We don't want the 25th Amendment. We don't want to impeach Biden. Well, you know what? You put Kamala Harris in the hot seat, and Congress. This is where Congress, and thank God we have the House, but I don't think that the House is doing enough. And this gets to Trump's conversations with his team going forward, and the idea that I still believe that there are going to be attempts on Trump's life. Speculation to a degree. We've already seen a couple. These people want ultimate power, and ultimate power only exists when you have total control of the United States government and the United States of America.
And they've more than signaled, General.
Oh, big time. Then I think what they're going to do is they're going to contemplate their additional sort of subset scenarios. Okay. And what are they? What might they be? Well, one might be a declaration of martial law. Another might be a implementation of a national security emergency order.
While other networks lie to you about what's happening now, InfoWars tells you the truth about what's happening next. Visit Infowars.com/show and share the link today.
We are now into hour number 2 of this Monday, November 25th, 2024 broadcast. I'm your host, Alex Jones, coming to you from the embattled InfoWars studios in Austin, Texas. And General Flynn,
click the Rumble link.
Flynn is our guest for the next 2 hours. He's the former head of the Defense Intelligence Agency, former top national security advisor to President Trump, and of course been a major political target of the deep state, but with your help and God's grace, defeated that. And he is one of the top brains in the world, of just a few that we could have here today, with the biggest escalation, I believe, in the nuclear age towards nuclear war. And that, of course, is the New York Times announcement that senior administration officials, this was an announcement just like a week and a half ago through the New York Times, that Biden authorized the bombing of Russia with attack of missiles, which then 2 days later began. Then England, now France is announcing it. England's already bombed the UK. They've formed this new northern group, even if Trump gets NATO to back down. This new northern group led by the UK and Germany, and Poland says they're going to continue the war. And in the New York Times article, just for new listeners joining us, I covered it last hour, they're saying, well, we can't just let Trump have peace. We've got to escalate this and give Ukraine nuclear weapons. So they are floating that. They are proposing that, just like they did in the last few months, giving them the ATACMS and Storm Shadows. They've done that. So that they are seriously trying to bring the world to the verge of a hot war. And I was just talking to General Flynn before we went live. He's about to exclusively, this is what he does for a living, top expert on the deep state. And he said there was a good chance they would try civil unrest and crisis and martial law, but I'm about putting words in your mouth. But you said now it looks like that is where they're going. So we're about to lay out real-time scenarios with the globalists that are so desperate, they either go to prison or they start World War III. General Flynn, thank you for being here. GeneralFlynn.com. Your new books on asymmetrical warfare. All of it is invaluable. Everybody should visit and follow everything you do at GeneralFlynn.com. com. And thank you for coming here to Austin, Texas, just for our broadcast, sir. I'm going to try to, as best I can now, really for the most of the hour, give you the floor. We've got a lot of questions. And also, we're going to post a link on X for people's questions to you. In fact, we should launch an X Spaces and take some questions or comments next hour. We'll do that as well. But General Flynn, thank you.
Do that. Yeah, I would really I'd love to do that, especially get questions. I think there's a lot of questions out there right now. So when all this began, with the exchange of these weapon systems, right? This firing, the allowance of the ATACMS to shoot across the border and all this sort of thing, right? These are events that all occurred, and you have to look at these, in like the so what. And so I took, and I've been talking about this for a long, long time, actually, months, if not years. And I will just remind people that the original regional war in Ukraine started in February of 2014. So that was during the Obama administration. Of course, Trump was able to kind of keep things in check because of his great leadership. And then, of course, when Biden came in 2020 or after in 2021, then, we started to build back up. And this is where we're at right now. So we had this monumental victory where President Trump won a huge victory here. And a mandate, they call it, I guess. So the last couple of days I've been going through, what I do, right? What I do for a living is one of the things that I do is I look at scenarios that can play out and I lay them out. And, I actually wrote a document the other day, and like Alex has got his stuff here. I kind of went through the last probably 4 or 5 months of news articles that I do, right? Research that I do and things that I look at. And much of this stuff is starting to play out. One of the scenarios that I'm going to just tick these off real quick. I put out 5 the other day. One is the continued assassination of President Donald J. Trump. I still firmly believe that is on the table. I do not think for a second that conversation has been taken off by these people that want to get us involved in essentially a military industrial complex, sleepwalking, whatever you want to call it, war, World War III. So the second scenario is really this idea of conventional resistance. And conventional resistance is really where, it's just to try to create the conditions where there's no coming back, and you have this conventional march to